If there's one thing worse than getting drunk at the office party, it's waking up the next morning remembering exactly what you said to your boss and realizing it wasn't about work. I didn't just cross the line, I pole vaulted over it. The office was unusually quiet that Monday morning, except for the pounding in my head. My name is Ethan Carter, 26, Junior Marketing Associate at Callahan & Gray, and apparently a professional at self-sabotage. The man I had spilled my heart out to was none other than Daniel Gray, 32, CEO, ice-cold professional, and my direct superior. The kind of man who could silence an entire boardroom with one look. Daniel wasn't the sort of boss you joked around with. He was precise, stoic, and always immaculately put together, the human embodiment of a perfectly tailored suit. People whispered about him in the hallways. His ruthless deals, his unshakable composure, and the fact that no one had ever seen him on a date. Except now, I had apparently decided to tell him in front of half the staff at the afterparty that I had feelings for him. And not in a subtle, hey, I like your tie kind of way. Oh no, I had gone full Shakespearean confession, with metaphors about the way his eyes looked in the boardroom lighting. When I stepped into the elevator that morning, I prayed to every deity I could think of that he wouldn't be in yet. The elevator doors slid open on the 25th floor, and of course, there he was, standing by the coffee machine, suit jacket off, sleeves rolled up, looking like a Wall Street angel sent to ruin my life. "Morning, Carter," he said, his voice low and smooth. "Morning, Mr. Gray," I muttered, trying to make a beeline for my desk. But his voice stopped me. "We need to talk. My office. Now." My stomach dropped somewhere around my shoes. I followed him into his office, feeling like a criminal awaiting sentencing. He closed the door behind us and turned to face me. His gaze was unreadable. "Do you remember what you said Friday night?" Every nerve in my body screamed lie, deny everything. But I nodded. "Yes." He stepped closer, just enough to make my breath hitch. "And do you stand by it?" I blinked. I don't know. I was drunk." His eyes searched mine like he was looking for a truth I wasn't ready to give. "That's not an answer, Carter." I swallowed hard. "Maybe. Yes. I stand by it." There was a pause. Then, to my absolute shock, the corner of his mouth lifted just barely. "Good. Because I've been wondering how long you'd take to admit it." Felt like the floor tilted beneath me. "Wait, what?" He leaned back against his desk, crossing his arms. "I'm not an easy man to approach, but I'm not blind either. I've seen the way you look at me, the way you light up in meetings when you have an idea, the way you try not to look when I take off my jacket." I wanted the ground to swallow me whole, but instead of humiliation, something else flooded me hope. "You don't mind?" I asked. He tilted his head, his eyes softening in a way I'd never seen before. "Mind? No. But this isn't the kind of thing we can jump into recklessly. You work for me, Ethan. There are rules. And I don't mix business with—" Before he could finish, I found myself blurting, "Then take me out after work. Off the clock. No rules." The look he gave me then, like I just challenged him and he liked it, sent my heart racing. From that day, something shifted. We didn't talk about us during office hours. But there were small moments, his hand brushing mine when he passed me a file, his gaze lingering a second too long during presentations, the way his voice softened when he said my name. Weeks passed, and tension built like a storm waiting to break. One night, after we landed a major client, the whole team went out to celebrate. Daniel offered me a ride home. I thought it was just courtesy until he stopped the car outside my building and said, "Get in the back seat." Confused, I obeyed. He slid in beside me, the city lights painting his face in gold and shadow. "I've been patient, Ethan," he said quietly. "But tonight, I'm not your boss." What happened next wasn't reckless, it was inevitable. Months of restraint, glances, and unsaid words crashed into each other in a kiss that left me breathless. It wasn't perfect. We argued a lot. About boundaries, about the risks, about whether this was a mistake. But there were also nights when he cooked for me in his penthouse, barefoot in a white t-shirt, looking nothing like the man who ruled the office. There were mornings when he'd wake me with coffee and that rare, soft smile he showed only when we were alone. The cold, untouchable CEO wasn't a myth, but neither was the man who traced circles on my back when I was stressed, or who listened when I talked about my dreams. A year later, I stood in the same elevator where I'd once prayed not to see him, my hand intertwined with his. We'd kept our relationship quiet, but we didn't hide from each other anymore. As the doors opened, he squeezed my hand. Ready? I smiled. Always. We stepped out together, not boss and employee, not cold and warm, but two men who had found something worth breaking the rules for. And if I had to confess all over again, drunk or sober, I would. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.